So this one is belated birthday wishes to Ashley Brathwaite. She celebrated her birthday on the 27th. This is a happy birthday greeting for you, Ashley, over in our MCTV department. Celebrated her 21st birthday on Saturday, and that's from Lorna and Nadia. Hopefully you had a good day. I'm sure they did their part to make sure. And another greeting we must extend, a birthday greeting is to Edna Walcott. She is age 103. She's over at Bayview Avenue in Bayville, St. Michael. Greetings from your son Keith, your granddaughter Sharon, and your great-grandson Joe Ash. So that's a wonderful age, wonderful number. Not many of us will be blessed with that, but hey, beautiful stuff indeed.
I just have one more birthday greeting, Cassandra. It's to Natasha King, a good friend and hardworking lady as always. Her daughter Kaylin just sat the 11 plus, and she's one of those ladies who seems to be ageless and timeless, still looking fabulous. So happy birthday to Natasha. I hope that you got today off. I suspect you don't, but in the event that you do, I hope you do something fun to celebrate your life. It's that kind of time where we continue our program this morning. We have two guests, and I'm going to let Pearson give us an idea as to who they are, what they're talking about. It's sure to be quite exciting.
All right, we're joined by Pastor Victor Roach, the president of NCPADD, and Wallace Cyrus, who is the education officer with NCPADD. Good morning to both of you gentlemen.
Good morning.
I suspect we're going to be talking about World No Tobacco Day yesterday and continuing your conscious efforts towards raising awareness about the effects of tobacco, really, and its effects on our bodies.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Right or wrong?
Well, both.
Okay.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to come to support what is being done in tobacco control. But this morning we wanted to spend some time looking at drugs in the workplace. We have mentioned it occasionally, but I think we need to treat it in a full way. We could talk about the impacts and the costs, the signs, the risk factors, the stages, the issues, avoiding the issue of drugs, well, not the issue, but avoiding drug abuse in the workplace, and also what we would do to help persons who have those problems. And I suspect if we start today, we will continue. But Wallace was out and about. How was it for you yesterday, Wallace?
Well, it's quite interesting. One of the things which we've been doing on a consistent basis is going across the island and talking to the children in the primary school, trying to raise the awareness of what can happen if you go down that road of being involved with drugs. And then let me say it here. We need to understand, if nothing else, this one thing. It is never too early to start to inform our children about the dangers involved with being associated with drugs. Those persons who make their living out of enticing people, young and old alike, into drug activity, they like to see you from the cradle to the grave. And it isn't true from the cradle to the grave, because if you get involved with drugs, there's three things that are going to happen to you. One, you'll probably see me in a mental institution, or in a prison, or when you die. Because those three things will happen to you either one at a time, or you'll take two of them, or all three of them.
There's some who are going to say to you point blank, Mr. Cyrus, you're kidding me. Because there are some people who do use illegal substances and function.
Well, Sir Winston Churchill smoked, and he lived to a ripe old age. And there are many people who do lots of things. People have fallen out of the sky or the planes and live, and they didn't have a parachute. But I am sure no one listening to us today would ever think of that as a healthy activity. You see, there are exceptions to every rule. And the fact that you become one of the exceptions doesn't mean that it's something that you should look at. Statistically, if you're into drugs, your life expectancy is somewhere like 10 to 20 years. If you happen to become addicted to drugs, it dramatically falls off 5 to 10 years. There are no old drug addicts. There are no old drug dealers. Because if you don't die from an overdose, which is the most likely outcome, you usually die violently. Because if you don't pay your druggie, he will kill you. So I mean, you know.
You've made the point.
What I want to ask you about, based on your research, is, you know, we joke a lot on the program about how sometimes children are better change agents than the adults when it comes to egging their parents on. What have your findings been? Not just in terms of their understanding, but their influencing of the adults in their lives.
No, it is quite true. It's quite true. If you want to make a change in the community in any way, get hold of the children. Why do you think, and again, I have to go back to it, pedophiles and drug pushers, they specialize in children. And they're the greatest psychologists we know in society today, because they understand it. You send your child to school, and the teacher tells your child whatever it is, and he comes home and changes mommy and daddy, no matter what the education level is. They get changed because Johnny comes home and he says, but we do it this way in school. My teacher says this. If you want to change the church, everywhere, if you aim your program at the children, you will change the adults. And people don't seem to understand it. And it's one of the things about it is that, for instance, for children are very enthusiastic, and who can really resist the charm and smile of a child, the innocence of children? And I love them. And I think something that we don't understand is that the importance of children and the role they play. So when we look at drugs, and this morning we want to focus on drugs in the workplace. The workplace is a very important place because outside of sleep, it's the next major time consumer, the workplace. And so many things happen. Now, when you talk about drugs in the workplace, a lot of people think immediately of things like, he's going to come work, space out on cocaine, heroin. Not at all. The top of the list really is alcohol. Alcohol consumes more of our resources than anything else. In fact, what alcohol does to the society as a drug is not even close. When you look at, if you take the group then of all the other drugs involved, they come nowhere, not even 50% of what alcohol does. A study was done in the United States of America some years ago looking at alcohol and its influence, its impact. And one of the things that people were saying in order to keep alcohol in the society is, well, look, employment, governments tax alcohol like crazy. If you buy a bottle of alcohol for $1, chances are maybe only 10 cents actually ends up as being part of the cost of the alcohol. The other 90 cents usually taxes. But when they did the study, they showed that, well, alcohol back then contributed something like 10 point something billion dollars to the community. The actual cost in what it cost the society for all the things it does exceeded $10.5 trillion. You see?
So and that's productivity loss.
Mostly so. But, if you look, for instance, again, talking the same alcohol, an interesting fact in alcohol is this, and that is, again, we labor under these myths. There's the myth, and it's still in today, after all the research we've done, all we've seen, that alcohol is an upper. It is the biggest joke ever told to humankind. I got into trouble with the medical profession back in the 70s and 80s because you can't, as a practicing physician, knowing what we know about alcohol, tell anybody that anyone should ever consume alcohol in any amount at any time because of its danger. It is the most dangerous substance known to mankind.
So what is your message right now? Because this is very much a part of a culture. It's not even just Barbados, though they will tell you if you find a church, you'll also find a rum shop.
Of course.
But it's something that's all over the world. People see this as a way it's how they have
it's a means of socializing. Exactly.
It's how they socialize.
It's a means of
relax.
socializing.
So what is your message in terms of, because the message of responsibility has been the one that we've been hearing more?
Well, you see, if we could drink responsibly, I would be the first to advocate it. Unfortunately, we cannot. You see, one of the reasons why we can't drink responsibly and have it as a social entity is simply because alcohol does some very dangerous, does some terrible things. Number one, everything you consume, including a glass of water, has to go through the digestive system. You drink it, stomach, small intestine, large intestine. Alcohol does not. Within seconds of consuming alcohol, get into your mouth, and it's into the bloodstream, because once it hits the stomach, it then deviates straight into the bloodstream.
Okay.
So that's what makes it so dangerous. And then it's availability.
Our time is pretty much up.
Of
What is
course.
your closing message? Closing.
Well, I want to go back to what Ms. Marshall raised.
We don't have much time.
And to say that the involving children is also a determinant in their ability to stay away from the drugs when they become adults. So it's a very important statistic.
We really wanted to look at workplace and how
Yeah.
the drugs in the workplace affects productivity, the
You have my
cost of
number.
business. Clearly.
Another
Sure.
visit. You have
All
to
right.
come back.
Yeah.
Ongoing.
All right, well,
Work in
we're
progress.
going to take a very short break, and yes, we have more to share with you on Morning Barbados, so do stay with us.
Morning Barbados, good morning.